Welcome to all of you. My name is Joginder Tomar. I'm your friend and instructor. So today we will discuss about a very important and interesting topic. The topic name is application load balancer. So let us proceed with the load balancer understanding. So load balancer exactly divide the network load among all the servers which are located inside the target group. Let's say we have three servers which are located inside the target group. Server 1, server 2 and server 3. So these are the three web servers we have. So we can write it as web server 1, web server 2 and web server 3. So these are the three web servers. The servers are located inside a component. That component will be called as target group. So technically we are calling as target group. So this is a software component. So all the servers, web server 1, web server 2 and the web server 3, each and every server will be called as target. So we can call as server 1 as a target 1, web server 2 as a target 2 and web server 3 as a target 3. So we have three targets located inside the one group. That group will be called as target group. So we can give any name to the target group. Let's say the name of the target group we have given test group. So if the traffic which is coming from the internet, so it can be the situation of e-commerce website traffic. So let's say we have one e-commerce website Alibaba.com. So Alibaba.com is a very popular e-commerce website. On this web portal, many people, multi-million people, every day they are doing the online shopping. So let's say we have 60 people. For the sake of example, let's take a small number of value here, 60 number. So 60 number of people are sending the request for doing the shopping in the Alibaba.com. So 60 requests. So these 60 requests from the 60 buyers or the customers will goes to the load balancer. So load balancer is a component which balance the load among the all the servers which are located inside the target group. So load balancer will be always available in the front end. And all of the targets which are the web server 1, web server 2 and the web server 3, it can be the web server 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it doesn't matter, it can be the n number of servers can be possible in a one target group. So each and every server which are located inside the target group will be called as target. So all these servers which are located inside the target group, we can call it is located inside the backend. So why we are calling load balancer as a front end? Because the requests which are coming, the user requests which are coming from the internet, it will first contact to the load balancer. So load balancer is the front end for all the user requests, which are coming from the internet. So these 60 users request, first of all it will contact to the load balancer, then the load balancer in the front end, it will take a decision to divide the 60 users request equally among the all the servers which are located inside the target group. So the 60 requests which are coming from the internet will be equally divided, then it will comes to 20, 20 and 20. So every server, each server will get 20 users request. If you will divide the 60 number of requests into 3, into the 3 types, 3 among the 3 servers, if you will divide the 60 users request among the 3 servers, then it will comes to the count of the 20, 20, 20. So 20 users request will be handled by the server 1, 20 users requests will be handled by the web server 2, and the 20 users requests will be handled by the web server 3. So it will be in the ratio of the 20, 20, 20. So this decision of dividing the load of the 60 number of users requests will be done by the load balancer. So load balancer in such a manner will provide the two more things. Number one is high availability. Second thing is called as fault tolerance. So we will discuss about the reason why the load balancer is providing high availability and fault tolerance. Let's say we have a current scenario. In this current scenario, the 60 users requests are coming from the internet and it is going to the load balancer. It is hitting the load balancer which is located in the front end. Then load balancer will take a wise decision to equally divide the load among all the targets located inside the target group. So 60 divided by 3, so it will comes to the count of the 20, 20 and 20. So if one of the servers will get fail, maybe due to the hardware issue, due to any network issue, what will happen? The 60 users request will be divided into the two, divided and equally distributed among the rest of the 2 available servers. So these 20 requests will be added equally to the rest of the servers which are available inside the target group after shutting down or after the crash of the web server 1. So the 10 will be added here and 10 will be added here. So now The web server 2 this time, after crashing the web server 1, will handle the load of 30 users request, and the web server 3 this time will handle the load of 30 users requests, because the web server 1 is now down due to some hardware issue or due to some network issue. So how this thing will be decide that web server 1 is down? How the load balancer will come to know about that web server is down? Then we need to move the load of the web server 1 among the web server 2 and the web server 3. How the load balancer will come to know about the web server down, that the web server is down? So another component we can call as, there is one subcomponent inside the target group that will be called as health checker. So let's say this is a health checker. So health checker will check the health of every target or the node which is located inside the target group, and the target group we named as test group. You can give any name. If it doesn't mean that if I have given the test group name as a target group, for the target group, you can give any other name also, it's as per your wish. So health checker, after the frequent intervals, whatever the frequent intervals or the time we have decided, maybe it can be the 1 minute, maybe it can be the 2 minutes. So if we have decided the frequency or the time interval for checking each and every node, maybe the 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever the time we have decided, that health checker component will check after every 10 seconds. For example, if we have decided the timing for checking the health of every node or the web server or the target inside the load balancer, that the web server 1 is working fine or not, web server 2 is working fine or not, web server 3 is working fine or not, right? So this health checker will continuously check the health after each and every frequent interval. If we have decided the 10 seconds, then after uh, within after every 10 seconds periodic interval, it will check the web server 1 is fine or not, web server 2 is fine or not, the health of the web server 2 is okay or not, web server 3 health is okay or not. So if the web server 1 will not respond to the health checker after the 10 seconds periodic interval that we have set already during the configuration, then then the health checker will assume that the web server 1 is down and having some problem. So it will inform to the load balancer. So load balancer will come to know about that web server 1, which is the target, it is down due to any hardware crash, due to any internet issue, due to any network issue. So so load balancer will assume the web server 1 is out of the cluster, out of the target group. So now whatever the traffic which is coming from the internet, instead of putting the load on the web server 1, then it will redirect the load among all the available servers. So whatever the servers are available, like the web server 2 and the web server 3, these are the remaining servers after the web server 1 is down. So 60 users request will be divided into 30 and 30, divided among the web server 2 and the web server 3 in the equal ratio, that is 30 and the 30. So web server 2 will handle the 30 users request, and the web server 3 will also handle the 30 users request. So this is called as high availability. In this way, the load balancer is providing the high availability as well as the fault tolerance. So what is the meaning of fault tolerance? Fault tolerance, here in this scenario we can understand the web server 1 is now faulty. So and due to the faulty web server 1, still it will not affect the service towards the clients. So 60 number of users requests will be handled by the rest of the remaining servers. So remaining servers will handle the load of the 60 users requests. So if web server 1 is faulty, it is not working, there is no problem, but the 60 users request will be divided among the two rest of the servers or the two remaining servers. So before it was divided in the ratio of the 20, 20 and 20, but after the web server 1 is down, then the the total number of requests will be equally divided among the web server 2 and the web server 3. The end users will not get affected due to the web server 1 is down, and they will continuously get the service from the through the load balancer, and the load balancer will divert or redirect the load equally among the web server 2 and the web server 3. So this is called as fault tolerance and the high availability. So the services will be highly available towards the end user. It will never get effect that if the web server 1 is down, still the services will be available for the end users. So let's go to the portal and we will understand very clearly. Let's proceed with the lab steps on the AWS Amazon web portal. So now we are on the portal. So here it is asking to enter the email address to get login. So enter the email address. Click on next. It is asking to enter the password. So enter the password and click on sign in. We got successful logged in inside the AWS Amazon web portal. So now we are inside the web portal, and you can see on the top we are inside the North Virginia region. North Virginia region is the geographical location. So in this geographical location we are having maximum AWS availability zones. Availability zones are the data centers which are located inside the region. So now what we need to do, we need to create two EC2 instances inside the North Virginia region and two different availability zones. So for that purpose, click on EC2. Right now you can see the status is 0. The running instances status is 0. It means there is not at all any EC2 instance present inside the North Virginia region. So click on running instances. Click on launch instance. So now we are redirected towards the step number 1. So it is asking to enter the image or select the image through which you will create a new EC2 instance. So here I will select Microsoft Windows Server 2016. So here we are. So Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base. So I will click on select. So now we are redirected on the step number 2. The step number 2 is showing us that what are the virtual hardware will we utilize for the creation of a new EC2 instance. So it is showing one virtual CPU, 1 gigs of RAM, and EBS storage. EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. So EBS is a kind of storage which we can use only inside the EC2 instance creation. So now click on next. So now we redirected towards the step number 3. So on the step number 3 it is asking to enter some information regarding the configuration of the instances. So now click on network, and here we have default VPC. If you have created your own VPC, you can select your own VPC also, but we have not yet created our own VPC, so we will go with the default VPC. So click on subnet. So subnet option will show you the availability zones inside the North Virginia region. So inside the North Virginia region we are having the maximum data centers or availability zones. The data centers are also called as availability zones. We have East 1A, East 1F, East 1B, East 1E, East 1C, East 1D. So these are the data centers. So these data centers are the availability zones. So we will select East 1A. So in this East 1A we will place this EC2 instance. So now click on next, next again, and click on add tag. So under the key type name, under the value give it web server 1. So we assigned the name of the first EC2 instance as web server 1. So now click on next. So here we got a protocol type is RDP. So click on add rule and add one more protocol with the name HTTP, because HTTP will be utilized to get a access of a website. We cannot access the website with the help of RDP. So for accessing a particular or any kind of website or the web page, we require HTTP or HTTPS. So now click on add rule and we will select HTTPS also. So HTTPS we can use if we have assigned the certificate, but we don't have certificate. So certificate in the sense we can say it's a digital certificate. So digital certificate is used for providing the encryption in the communication in between the web server and the web client. But here right now we don't have the digital certificate, so we will utilize throughout the whole lab testing with the HTTP protocol instead of HTTPS. So HTTP is not providing the encryption, HTTPS is providing the security and encryption. So click on review and launch. So before clicking on review and launch, we need to click on custom under the source and select anywhere for all the 3 protocols. Now click on review and launch. Now we are redirected towards the step number 7. So step number 7 is saying that whatever the steps we have already performed in the previous wizard steps, so we can see the summary of all the steps that we have performed before. If you want to modify and correct any one of the step which we already have been performed, we can go to the previous and we can perform it, and we can modify and we can come again on the step number 7. But we are okay with the steps that we have already performed, so we will click on launch. So here it is asking to generate a key pair, to create a key pair, or to choose a key pair which will be utilized during the password creation or the decryption of the password for getting the login inside the EC2 instance or the web server. So here we have an option, choose an existing key pair. So I will go with an option, choose an existing key pair. If you don't have the key pair, then you can create a new key pair, but I have already one existing key pair, so I will go with the first option, choose an existing key pair. So the key pair name I will give my key. So I have already saved one of the key pair file with the name my key in a particular location. So check mark an option, I acknowledge. Now click on launch instances. So now we are in the process of launching the new EC2 instance or web server. So click on view instances. So web server 1, this is an EC2 instance. Just now we are in the process of creation, but still this EC2 instance is not a web server. We cannot say it is a web server because web server role or the web service role is not yet installed inside the EC2 instance. So after the creation of the web server 1 EC2 instance, we need to install a IIS web server role. So web service role is called as IIS inside the Windows platform in case of the Windows platform. In case of the Linux platform, the web server will be called as Apache. But in the Windows platform, we are calling a web server as IIS server. So in order to publish a web server, in order to configure a web server on the Windows platform, we require to install and configure the IIS service role. So that will proceed the steps when the EC2 instance will be ready and the 2x2 checks will be green. So now let's create the second EC2 instance. So for that purpose, click on launch instance. So here we will select the image of the operating system that we will utilize for the creation of the second EC2 instance. So we will select Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base. So click on select. So no need to modify anything. So step number 2 is showing you the hardware combination or the virtual hardware combination in which one virtual CPU is existing and 1 gigs of RAM and the EBS storage. Now click on next, and here click on subnet. So now this time we will choose availability zone 1B. So this is East 1B. Now click on next, next again. Now here we are redirected towards the step number 5. So under the key we need to mention name. Under the value we need to mention the name of the EC2 instance as web server 2. Now click on next. So we are redirected towards the step number 6. Now click on add rule, and we need to choose the protocol type that we will utilize for accessing the website and the accessing the EC2 instance. So for accessing the EC2 instance we have RDP, and for accessing the website or the web page we will create inside the EC2 instance. For that purpose we will choose HTTP and another one HTTPS. So HTTPS we will not utilize, but just we added because we don't have the digital certificate. So HTTPS we can utilize in such a kind of situation and such a kind of circumstances if we already have a digital certificate and that digital certificate we applied on our website or the web page, but we did not purchase the digital certificate. So that's why we will access the web page or the website for the testing purpose through the HTTP protocol. So under the source, click on anywhere for all the three protocols. Now click on review and launch. So this will show you the step number 7, and the step number 7 will display the summary of all the steps that you have been already performed in the wizard. Now click on launch, and here choose an option, choose an existing key pair. So select the key, that is my key. So my key is the name of the key pair file that we have already created and saved in a particular location. Now click on check mark, I acknowledge. Now click on launch instances. Now select on view instances. Now you can see web server 1 is now successfully created. So it is showing the status 2x2 checks green. It means to say that web server 1 is ready to use. So till the time web server 2 will be ready, now we can install the IIS web service role inside the web server 1. So let's go ahead and select the public IP address. So with the help of the public IP address we can access the EC2 instance through the RDP console. If we don't have the public IP address, then we cannot remotely access the EC2 instance. So let's go to the portal, let's go to the run option and type here msd sc. Click on OK. So now press Ctrl plus V key. These are the two keys. Will paste the public IP address on the remote desktop connection console. Now click on connect. Now it is asking to enter the credentials. So it is asking first of all enter the username. So username we need to assign here administrator, and the password we don't know about the password. So how we can get the password? For that purpose we need to go to the connect, click on get password, click on choose file. So what was the key pair file that we associated with the EC2 instance, which was mykey.pem. So we selected mykey.pem, click on open, click on decrypt password. Now the password has been decrypted or generated. Now copy the password, close it, and go to the RDP console and paste this password. Click on OK. Now click on yes. Now we are on the desktop screen of the EC2 instance 1 or the web server 1. Now we require to go to the server manager, click on server manager. Now click on add roles and features. So it is taking a little bit more time. So till that time, let's see what is the status of the web server 2. So we can see here the web server 2 is also now ready to use, and the status of 2 by 2 is also green. So let's see what is the public IP address of web server 2, and we will copy the public IP address of the web server 2. Let's go to run, type mstsc, click on OK. Paste this public IP address, click on connect. Now it is asking to enter the username and password. So we will enter the username as administrator and the password. We don't know the password. For getting the password, click on connect, click on get password, click on choose file, and here we can see the key pair file name mykey.pem. So select this file, click on open, click on decrypt password. So here we can see the password has been decrypted or generated successfully. So now copy this password and go to the console and paste this password, click OK. Click on yes. Now let's go to the server manager, because through the server manager we need to install the IIS web service role in order to publish this EC2 instance 2 or the web server 2 as a web server. So let it be load. The server manager is loading in the background. So let's move on to the web server 1 till that time. So now we are on the web server 1 EC2 instance, and we need to install a role which is IIS. So IIS is the role which gives the capability of the server computer or the server EC2 instance as a web server in the Windows platform. So let's click on add roles and features. So add roles and feature wizard has been started. Now click on next, next again, next. So here under the roles we will find one of the role with the name web server IIS. So select this role, click on add features, click on next, click on next again, next, Next, click on install. So let's wait until the role will be completely installed. And one more thing I would like to share with you. So if you'll go to the File Explorer, so if we'll click on C drive, then here we can see only 4 folders we have: Windows, Users, Program Files, x86, Program Files, Perf Logs. So these are the 4 folders we had, and one more new folder has been created automatically, which is with the name inetpub. So inetpub is the folder which will be created automatically after the installation of IIS web service role. So you can see here that IIS web service role is in process for the installation. So when we will install the IIS role, then only the inetpub folder will be created automatically inside the drive, inside the C drive. So if IIS or the web server role will not be installed, then inetpub folder will not be available. So now what we need to do, click on inetpub, click on www root, and here whatever the files which are already inside the www root, we can delete it. So we don't require this file. So now let's create a website or the web page. So we will create the website or the web page through the notepad. So double click on notepad, and here we will type, this is server 1. Click on file, click on save as, and here save this web page with the name web.html, and under the save as type you have to select all files. So click on save, click on file and exit. Now you can see here the web page with the name web has been created successfully, and icon is showing Internet Explorer icon, and the type you can see HTML document. So now website or the web page has been created for the testing purpose. So now we will publish this web page on the IIS server. So for getting the publish of the IIS server, we need to go to the tools and click on Internet Information Services Manager. So remember guys, Internet Information Services Manager will be appear only at that time when we will install IIS service web server role. So that's why it is appearing here. If you will not install IIS service web server role, then we will not see Internet Information Service IIS Manager. So we already clicked on IIS Service Web Manager. Now we are inside the IIS Manager. So extend the option, extend the sites, right click on default website and click on remove, because we don't want this default website, we want to publish our own website. Click on yes. So the default website has been deleted. So right click on sites, click on add website, and here mention the name of your website that you have now been created, web.html. So enter the physical path, browse the physical path which is under the C. Now you can see here inetpub. Inside the inetpub there is a folder with the name www.root. So this is an exact folder in which our website or the web page with the name web.html is located. Now click on OK. So under the IP address option, select IP address. Now click on OK. Now click on directory browsing, and here on the left hand side, or sorry, on the right hand side under the actions, click on enable. Now double click on web.html. On the left hand side again, click on default document. Now click on add and enter the name of the web page here, which is web.html. Click on OK. So you can see here it is visible here, web.html. So now click on the folder with the name, click on the container with the name sites. We double clicked on it. Now right click on web.html. Now click on set website defaults. So we have no need to modify anything in this website defaults. Now click on OK. So we are done with the creation and the publishing of a website or the web server. So now you can see what is the IP address here. This is a private IP address. So 172.31.21.100. So let's note down this IP address, which is a private IP address of the EC2 instance 1. So we open the notepad and we will note it as 172.31.21.100. So now we will use this private IP address for the testing of the website or the web page locally on the EC2 instance 1 or the web server 1. So click on run and here type iexplore.exe. So now click on OK. So now copy the private IP address and paste this private IP address on the web browser screen and press enter. Now you can see here this is server 1, it is showing on the screen. So hence we can say that our web server or the web site is working fine. There is no problem, there is no issue with the website and the web server. So this is a great news for us. So now we will proceed the same sequence of the steps for the EC2 instance 2 also, or the web server 2. So now let's go to the EC2 instance 2. So here we are on the EC2 instance 2. So like the same way we will click on add roles and features, click on next, next again, next, and here also we need to select one of the role with the name web server IIS. Click on add features, next, 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 and finally click on install. So this will proceed the installation of the IIS web service role. So it will take some moment. So till that time, let's move on to the file explorer. So as you can see, the file explorer window has been opened. Now click on C, and here you can see inetpub is not displaying here because the role is not yet installed. So if the role will be installed, I mean to say that IIS IIS or the web service role will be completely installed, then you can see here the INET pub has been created. So I already told you in before, at the time of the creation of publishing the web service role or the IAS role on the EC2 instance 1, that INET pub is a folder which will be automatically created after the installation of the IAS service or the web service. So INET pub is available here. Double click on INET pub, double click on www root. So here inside the www root we have two files, so we don't require these files, so we will delete or remove these files permanently. So right click on here and we will go to notepad. So we will open the notepad and we will create a website or the web page for the testing purpose. So this time I will mention here the text, this is my web server 2. This is my web server 2 or this is my server 2. Now click on file, click on save as, and here we need to type a name, web.html. So you can assign any name. It doesn't mean that if I am assigning here web.html you have to do exactly like the same. You have to assign the exactly same name. You can assign the different name as per your choice, as per your wish. So click on save and click on file. I'm sorry, one important thing that I forget to do. So click on save as. So here I will type web.html, and under the save as type I need to select all files. If you will not do this one, then what will happen? Your file will be saved as a notepad file. So click on save, click on file, exit. So now you can see here a web.html has been saved successfully and the type it is showing HTML document. So now proceed the step of publishing this website on the web server. The web server role has been successfully installed and it is listing under the tools option. So the name of the web service role is Internet Information Service IAS Manager. So click on here. So here we can see the sites container is showing. So under the sites container we have default website. So right click on the default website and click on remove option. Click on yes. So now the default website has been deleted successfully because we don't require this website. We require to publish our own website. So right click on the sites container, click on add website, and here we need to mention or assign the name of the web page or the website that we have just now created before, which is with the name web.html. Now select the physical path or the location of the web page. So under the C we can find here inetpub, expand the inetpub and you can find the subfolder www root. Now click on OK. So under the IP address just select the IP address of the EC2 instance 2. Now click on OK. Now click on directory browsing, double click on it. So under the actions on the right hand side click on enable. So we are done. So now double click on web.html again on the left hand side. So now double click on default document, click on add, and here mention the name exactly which is having the spelling on the left hand side, which is web.html. Click on OK. So we did it. So now double click on the sites container, right click on web.html, So click on set website defaults. So leave everything as it is. Now click on OK. So we are done. We published the website on the web server IIS manager. So within the IIS manager console we published the website. We can say that we created a web server, and on a web server we published a website with the name web.html. So now let's do the testing on the local computer, which is the EC2 instance 2 or the web server 2 locally. Click on run. So here we need to type iexplore.exe. So it will redirect you towards the Internet Explorer. So now let us note down what is the private IP address. So go to Notepad. So I will note down this private IP address that I will use for the testing purpose locally on the EC2 instance 2. So 172.31.40.29. So I will copy this private IP address and paste it on the web browser screen. So where is the web browser screen? Here we are. So Control V. So we now pasted. Now press enter. Wow. So we are getting the good response. We are getting the response from the web server, and the web page is opening on the web browser, and the content is this is my server 2. So this is good sign. So we are done with the creation of the EC2 instances, and we installed the IIS role, we configured the IIS role, and we published the website on the web server, and the web server is IIS. So again I would like to share with you one important thing. The web server or the web service role in the Windows platform will be called as IIS. IIS stands for Internet Information Service, and in the Linux platform the web server will be called as Apache server. So this is good for you if you know this information, because sometime you need to work on the Linux platform, sometime you are working with the Windows platform. So if these common things, if you are aware about these common things, these important things, then it will be good for you. And you should know what we will call as in the Linux platform. As I told you, in the Linux platform the web server will be called as Apache, but in the Windows platform the web server or the web service will be called as IIS. IIS stands for Internet Information Service. So we are done with the publishing of the web server, creation of the web server, and publishing a website on the web server. So now proceed with the steps of creation of the load balancer. So let's go to the portal. So here we will scroll down, and we will click on under the load balancing. We will see two options. Number one is the load balancers, number second is the target group. I hope so that you still remembered what is target groups, right? So don't forget that, as I already told you what is the meaning of the target groups. So but once again I would like to share with you, I will tell you what is target group. So target group is the group of the servers which are included in a load balancing cluster, right? The group of the servers which will be utilized in the load balancing cluster will be called as target group. Okay, so here in the target group we are going to add EC2 instance 1 and EC2 instance 2, because we have created only two servers, uh, and one server, or the one EC2 instance we located inside the availability zone 1 in the North Virginia region, and the EC2 instance 2, which is the web server 2, we placed inside the second availability zone inside the North Virginia region. So the benefit is that creation of the two EC2 instances, or the two web servers in the two different availability zones, if the one availability zone will be completely down or crash, then still the web server or the web service will be available from the second availability zone. So that's the reason behind that, why we created the two EC2 instances in the two different regions, sorry, in the two different availability zones. If one of the availability zone will be down, is not working, then we can access the web service still from the availability zone second. So now this was good for your knowledge. So now what we will do, we will click on the target groups, and I would like to show you what is inside the target groups. You can see there is no target group has been created yet, but the target group will be automatically created when we will proceed the steps of creation of the load balancer. So click on load balancers, and you can see here the load balancer screen is empty. I mean to say that there is not at all any load balancer is already present, so we need to create a new one. So click on create load balancer. So under the application load balancer, we need to select create. Click on create. So now enter the name of the load balancer. We can assign any name. So I will assign the name here, test LB. Here we need to select internet facing, which is by default. So now IP address type is IPv4. You know, there is one more option is available here with the name dual stack. So dual stack option will be utilized if you want to use both of the IP addressing system, IP address versioning system, which is the IP version 4 and the IP version 6, right? So in that circumstances or the scenarios, we will use dual stack. So but we will go with the IPv4 with this time, and here you can see load balancer protocol, and the listener is here HTTP. So listener means to say that if the request is coming through the from the internet through the HTTP protocol, then it will listen on the port number HTTP only on the load balancer, right? If the request is coming through the port number HTTP, through the port number 80, which is HTTP, then load balancer will listen the request on the HTTP or the port number 80 and will redirect to the load balancing node or the target on the HTTP port. So I hope so you are very much clear with the listener. Listener means to say that on which port number we will listen, the load balancer will listen the request. If the request is coming from the port number 443, then it will be listened on the HTTPS. But now this scenario we are not using in this scenario we are not using HTTPS because we don't have the digital certificate. So we will go with the HTTP only. So HTTP is already added here and the port number is displaying 80. So now under the configure load balancer availability zone, so we need to select all of the availability zone in which we already placed our EC2 instances, which we will utilize in the target group. So here we will select US East 1A and 1B, East 1B. So now click on next. One more thing I would like to clear with you. Here we have chosen only two availability zone because two EC2 instances we have placed inside the two availability zone. One is 1A and second one is 1B. If there could be one more EC2 instance, if we could place inside the availability zone 1C, then we could choose the third availability zone also, US East 1C. But right now we will not select third one because we have only two EC2 instances which we have already placed inside the 1A and 1B. Now click on next. So we will leave as it is. Now click on next again, and here we will not do anything. So this is the step number 3. It is showing the configure security groups. So here you can see launch wizard 1, launch wizard 2, launch wizard 3, you can see here. So we will go there, AWS Amazon.com, we will get login and we will try to see what is the security group for the web server 1 and the web server 2. So click on running instances. So if you will click on web server 1 EC2 instance and scroll down a bit, little bit, and here you can see the security group. The security group, it is showing launch wizard 5. So here we will see launch wizard 5 is here under the name. So select this one, and for the second one, web server 2 EC2 instance, we will see what is the security group name. So here the security group name is showing launch wizard 6. So we will select here launch wizard 6. That's it. Now click on next, and here it is asking to enter the name of the target group. So we need to assign here the name. So I will assign here test group. So you can assign any name which you wish to assign. So here as a target type we will select instance because we want to push the pressure on load balance on the instances. So we have instance, we have IP, lambda function, so we will select here instance. So now click on next. So here we are redirected towards the step number 5, and this is a very important step. So here we will register both of the EC2 instance in a target group. So select the first, one and click on add to registered, and you can see as I clicked on add to registered, you can see on the top web server 2 it is showing here, and state is it is showing running. So uncheck the first one and check mark the second one, and click on add to registered. Now you can see here the second one is also displaying here. Now click on next and click on create. So successfully created load balancer, this message is appearing on the screen. Now click on close. So initially it is showing provisioning state because it takes a moment. Now we have to wait until the state of provisioning will be changed into active. So till that time, let's see other things also. So click on target groups. So we can see here the target group is available now here. And if you remember that before creation of the load balancer, I already clicked on the target groups, and before it was showing empty. But now, right now, it is showing the same group which we have mentioned while creation of the load balancer. So now click on test group and click on targets, and now you can see the status of the web server 1 and the web server 2. It is showing the status initial because it is in the process, and after some moments or some time it will be converge at healthy. So it is required it should show the status as healthy. So let's wait for a moment. And here it is showing unhealthy threshold because the targets are not still showing the healthy status. So we have to wait a moment because it takes a moment to converge the status from initial to healthy. Now you can see here the status of each target. The target name is web server 1 and second target name is web server 2. So now the status has been changed as healthy for both of them. So it is required, it is mandatory. So now click on group details, and here let's refresh it. So it doesn't mean here, and okay, so now let's go to the load balancers, and here you can see also the status of the load balancer. It is showing active. So this is a good symptom or the good sign because it is showing the status as active. So it means we are done with the load balancer, and now we have a time for testing. So let us see what is the DNS. So in order to get the access of the load balancer from the end users, what we will do, we will copy the DNS name and we will paste it on the browser if you want to test as an end user or the customer. So we can check it that one time the load will goes to the server 1 and it will show you this is server 1, and the second time if we will, after the refresh, we will hit the request, and the request will goes to the second time server 2, and the third time request will goes to the server 1, and the fourth time the request will goes to the server 2 again. So it is balancing the load. So it will balance the load. So we will check it. So we already copied the DNS name here from here. Now let's go to the another tab of the browser. So just paste this. Wow, we are getting the response from the, this is from the server 1 or EC2 instance 1, and it is showing the message this is server 1. So let's refresh it. Now it is showing this is my server 2. Now let's refresh it again. Now it is showing this is server 1. Let's refresh it again. Now it is showing this is my server 2. So hence we can say that our load balancing cluster is working fine. So we did it successfully. So I hope so that today's video was very informative to all of you. Thank you for watching my video. If you want my new latest upcoming videos in future, then don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. Click on like icon, share it, and press the bell icon also. Thank you very much once again.